Homesteading, page 90. Available and the savings from which you'll benefit. If you'll be buying from local farms, discuss pricing and bulk discounts with the farmers. 2. Have a meeting and invite all those who are interested in joining your buying club. Emphasize that a buying club requires its members to share in all responsibilities, from placing orders to picking up deliveries to collecting the money, and that they will all reap the benefits of obtaining great organic and natural foods at wholesale prices. 3. Establish an organizational committee. Discuss areas such as coordination, price guide distribution, orders, potential delivery location, what supplies will be needed, bookkeeping, and how to orient new members. 4. Draw up any membership requirements you think necessary. 5. Brainstorm possible delivery sites, such as churches, firehouses, or other public buildings. Your optimal site should be able to accommodate a large truck and have long hours of operation. Make sure you will have enough space at the site to go through the products and distribute them accordingly. 6. Develop a name for your buying club and fill out a membership application with the co-op distributor of your choice. You should receive some sort of confirmation, complete with order deadlines, date of delivery, and a simple orientation to the buying club. 7. Start enjoying your healthy foods for lower prices. Shows vegetables packed for distribution and labeled. Down here is food co-ops and distributors by state. Got Alabama through Arizona, Arkansas, California. Page 91 just continues going through California, Colorado. Page 92, just a big old picture of apples. Still going through all the states, Florida, Georgia, all the co-ops, Hawaii, Illinois. Page 94, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts. And that was page 95. Page 96 is a picture of a vegetable being chopped up. Page 97, we're in Michigan. Page 98, Minnesota. Mississippi. Page 99, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey. And then down here on page 100, we finally get to New Mexico. La Montanita Co-op and Food Market, 226 West Cole Avenue, Gallup, New Mexico, unfortunately, 87301. And the only other choice was Silver City Food Co-op, and that's 520 North Bullard Street, Silver City. There's no other list anywhere else. New York, North Carolina, page 101. North Dakota, Ohio, Oregon. Page 102, South Carolina, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Texas, Utah. Page 103, Vermont, Virginia, Washington. Page 104, just another picture of apples. Page 105, Wisconsin, West Virginia. Page 106, that's it. And then page 107 just shows a bunch of vegetables. All right, finally we got to page 108, canning. Introduction to canning. On the next few pages, you will find descriptions of proper canning methods, which details on how canning works and why it is both safe and economical. Much of the information here is from the USDA, which has done extensive research on home canning and preserving. If you are new to home canning, read this section carefully, as it will help to ensure success with the recipes that follow. Whether you are a seasoned home canner or this is your first foray into food preservation, it is important to follow directions carefully. With some recipes, it is okay to experiment with varied proportions or added ingredients, and with others, it is important to stick to what's written. In many instances, it is noted whether creative liberty is a good idea for a particular recipe. But if you are not sure, play it safe. Otherwise, you may end up with a jam that is too runny, a vegetable that is too mushy, or a product that is spoiled. Take time to read the directions and prepare your foods and equipment adequately, and you will find that home canning is safe, economical, tremendously satisfying, and a great deal for fun. Why can foods? Canning is fun and a good way to preserve your precious produce. As more and more farmers markets make their way into urban centers, city dwellers are also discovering how rewarding it is to make seasonal treats last all year round. Besides the value of your labor, canning homegrown or locally grown food may save you half the cost of buying commercially canned food. And what makes a nicer, more thoughtful gift than a jar of homemade jam tailored to match the recipient's favorite fruits and flavors? The nutritional value of home canning is an added benefit. Many vegetables begin to lose their vitamins as soon as they are harvested. Nearly half the vitamins may be lost within a few days unless the fresh produce is kept cool or preserved. Within 1 to 2 weeks, even refrigerated produce loses half or more of certain vitamins. The heating process during canning destroys from 1/3 to 1/2 of vitamins A and C, thiamine and riboflavin. Once canned foods may lose from 5% to 20% of these sensitive vitamins each year. The amounts of other vitamins, however, are only slightly lower in canned compared with fresh food. If vegetables are handled properly and canned promptly after harvest, they can be more nutritious than fresh produce sold in local stores. Canning began in France. At the turn of the 19th century, when Napoleon Bonaparte was desperate for a way to keep his troops well fed while on the march. In 1800, he decided to hold a contest offering 12,000 francs to anyone who could devise a suitable method of food preservation. Nicolas François Appert, a French confectioner, rose to the challenge, considering that if wine could be preserved in bottles, perhaps food could be as well. He experimented until he was able to prove that heating food to boiling after it had been sealed in airtight glasses bottles prevented the food from deteriorating. Interestingly, this all took place about 100 years before Louis Pasteur found that heat could destroy bacteria. Nearly 10 years after the contest began, Napoleon personally presented Nicholas with the cash reward. Shows here a picture of canned applesauce and peaches line this pantry's shelves. Down here it shows canned jams and nut butters. Page 109. The advantages of home canning are lost when you start with poor quality foods. When jars fail to seal properly, when food spoils, and when flavors, texture, and color and nutrients deteriorate during prolonged storage. The tips that follow explain many of these problems and recommend ways to minimize them. How canning preserves foods. The high percentage of water in most fresh foods makes them very perishable. They spoil or lose their quality for several reasons. Growth of undesirable microorganisms, bacteria, molds, and yeasts. Activity of food enzymes, reactions with oxygen, moisture loss. Microorganisms live and multiply quickly on the surfaces of fresh food and on the inside of bruised, insect damaged, and diseased food. Oxygen and enzymes are present throughout fresh food tissues. Here's a picture of green beans that should be chopped into small pieces before canning. Here's a picture of peeled potatoes before canning them. So that's your tip right there. Peel the potatoes before canning them. Proper canning practices include carefully selecting and washing fresh food, peeling some fresh foods, hot packing many foods, adding acids such as lemon juice, citric acid, or vinegar, to some foods. Using acceptable jars and self-sealing lids. Processing jars in a boiling water or pressure canner for the correct amount of time. Collectively, these practices remove oxygen, destroy enzymes, prevent the growth of undesirable bacteria, yeasts, and molds, and help form a high vacuum in jars. High vacuums form tight seals, which keep liquid in and air and microorganisms out. A large stock pot with a lid can be used in place of boiling water canner for high acid foods like tomatoes, pickles, apples, peaches, and jams. Simply place a rack inside the pot so that the jars do not rest directly on the bottom of the pot. Canning glossary. Acid foods. Foods that contain enough acid to result in a pH of 4.6 or lower. Includes most tomatoes, fermented and pickled vegetables, relishes, jams, jellies, and marmalades, and all fruits except figs. Acid foods may be processed in boiling water. Ascorbic acid, the chemical name for vitamin C, commonly used to prevent browning of peeled, light-colored fruits and vegetables. Blancher, a 6 to 8 quart lidded pot designed with a fitted, perforated basket to hold food in boiling water or with a fitted rack to steam foods. Useful for loosening skins on fruits to be peeled or for heating foods to be hot packed. Boiling water canner, a large standard sized lidded kettle with jar rack designed for heat processing 7 quarts or 8 to 9 pints in boiling water. Botulism, an illness caused by eating a toxin produced by growth of Clostridium botulinum bacteria in moist, low acid food containing less than 2% oxygen and stored between 40 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Proper heat processing destroys this bacterium in canned foods. Freezer temperatures inhibit its growth in frozen food. Low moisture controls its growth in dried food. High oxygen controls its growth in fresh foods.